What if I told you that one of the most feared bombers of World War II was not made of metal, had no heavy gun for defense, and still outran enemy fighters like they were standing still? This aircraft was so fast and so unexpected that German pilots thought it was a myth. Its name was the Havilland Mosquito, and it completely fooled the Luftwaffe. In the darkest years of World War II, when the skies over Europe were ruled by heavy bombers and deadly fighter planes, Britain introduced something no one expected. Instead of building another large, slow, heavily armed bomber, British engineers took a risky idea and turned it into a legend. They built a bomber mostly out of wood. Yes, wood. Many experts laughed at the idea. Some even said it was suicide. But history proved them wrong. The de Havilland Mosquito was born from speed, not armor. At a time when bombers depended on thick metal skins and rows of machine guns to survive, the Mosquito depended on one thing only: outrunning the enemy. It was light, sleek, and incredibly fast. Faster than many German fighters. That single advantage changed everything. One of the biggest surprises was its wooden construction. Britain used wood not because of weakness, but because of smart planning. During the war, aluminum was scarce and needed for other aircraft. Wood, however, was available and familiar to British craftsmen. Skilled furniture makers, piano builders, and boat builders were recruited to build parts of the Mosquito. This allowed Britain to produce aircraft without slowing down other war industries, but would give more than just easy production. It also helped the Mosquito avoid German radar. Metal aircraft reflected radar signals clearly, wood did not. This meant German radar stations often failed to detect Mosquito raids until it was too late. By the time alarms sounded, the Mosquito was already over the target, or gone. The Mosquito first flew in November 1940. Early tests shocked everyone. It was faster than expected, smoother in the air, and highly reliable. Soon, the British Royal Air Force realized they had something special. Very special. Instead of just one role, the Mosquito became many aircraft in one. It worked as a bomber, a fighter bomber, a night fighter, a reconnaissance plane, and even a pathfinder that marked targets for heavier bombers. No other aircraft of the war could do so many jobs so well. What made it even more dangerous was its two-man crew, just a pilot and a navigator. No gunners, no extra weight. This simple design made the plane lighter and faster. The idea was simple: don't fight the enemy, leave them behind. German pilots soon learned to fear the Mosquito. They called it the Wooden Wonder. Some Luftwaffe pilots reported chasing it at full power, only to see it pull away and disappear into clouds. Even Germany's best fighter planes, like the Messerschmitt Bf 109 and Focke-Wulf FW-190, struggled to catch it at high altitude. The Mosquito did not fly in large groups like heavy bombers. It often flew alone or in small numbers, striking with precision. It bombed factories, railways, airfields, and even Gestapo headquarters in occupied Europe. In some missions, it flew at low altitude through cities, delivering bombs with deadly accuracy and escaping before enemy guns could react. Loss rates tell the real story. While many bomber crews suffered terrible casualties during the war, Mosquito crews had some of the lowest loss rates of any Allied aircraft. Speed saved lives. Surprise saved lives. Smart design saved lives. By 1942 and 1943, the Mosquito was everywhere. German defenses were confused. Radar was unreliable. Fighters were too slow. Anti-aircraft guns often fired blindly. The Mosquito had turned the rules of air warfare upside down. And this was only the beginning. The de Havilland Mosquito was not just fast. It was accurate, fearless, and unpredictable. While heavy bombers relied on massive formations and carpet bombing, the Mosquito introduced a new idea to warfare: precision strikes at high speed. This ability allowed it to hit targets others could not, and escape before the enemy even understood what had happened. One of the Mosquito's most important roles was as a pathfinder aircraft. Before large bomber groups arrived, Mosquito crews flew ahead of them to mark targets with flares. Timing was everything. If they were late, the bombing would be inaccurate. If they were early, enemy defenses would be alerted. The Mosquito's speed made it perfect for this role. It could arrive exactly on time, drop its markers, and leave safely before German fighters responded. Another terrifying role was low-level precision bombing. Unlike high-altitude bombers that often miss their targets due to weather and enemy fire, the Mosquito flew low and fast, allowing crews to visually confirm their targets. Factories, power stations, bridges, railway yards, nothing was out of reach. German defenses struggled to respond because the aircraft appeared suddenly and vanished just as fast. One of the most famous Mosquito missions was the attack on Gestapo headquarters in Oslo and Copenhagen. These buildings were symbols of Nazi control and fear. The goal was not just destruction, but psychological impact. Mosquito crews flew at extremely low altitude through narrow city streets, avoiding buildings, power lines, and heavy fire. They dropped their bombs with incredible accuracy, destroying key offices and freeing resistance prisoners. The message was clear: nowhere was safe. Another daring operation was Operation Jericho in 1944. The target was a prison in Amiens, France, where many resistance fighters were being held and scheduled for execution. Mosquito aircraft flew low across the English Channel, avoiding radar, and attacked the prison walls with precision bombs. The goal was not to destroy the prison, but to break it open. The mission succeeded. Hundreds of prisoners escaped, and German morale suffered a major blow. The Germans were furious. They increased anti-aircraft defenses, added radar stations, and deployed their fastest fighters. But nothing worked consistently. The Mosquito's combination of speed, altitude, and surprise kept it one step ahead. Even when German fighters managed to intercept, Mosquito pilots often used dives and turns to escape, relying on their aircraft's excellent handling. The Mosquito also became a powerful night fighter. Equipped with radar, it hunted German bombers in the darkness. At night, visibility was low and confusion was high. The Mosquito used onboard radar to locate enemy aircraft, then attack suddenly from behind or below. Many German bomber crews never knew what hit them. The Mosquito proved that it could defend Britain as effectively as it attacked enemy territory. Another key role was photo reconnaissance. Mosquito reconnaissance planes carried cameras instead of bombs. Flying higher and faster than enemy fighters, they photographed factories, ports, missile sites, and troop movements. These images were critical for planning major Allied operations, including the D-Day invasion. Many of the most important intelligence photos of the war were taken by Mosquito crews. What made all this possible was not just speed, but reliability. The Mosquito's twin Rolls-Royce Merlin engines were powerful and dependable. Even if one engine failed, the aircraft could often return home safely. This gave crews confidence to attempt dangerous missions deep into enemy territory. German leaders openly complained about the Mosquito. Hermann Göring, head of the Luftwaffe, reportedly expressed anger that Britain could build such an aircraft while Germany could not stop it. The Mosquito became a symbol of Allied innovation and German frustration. By 1944, the Mosquito had proven itself as one of the most versatile aircraft ever built. It did not need heavy protection. It did not need large formations. It relied on intelligent speed and precision, and it worked. The success of the de Havilland Mosquito did not come from luck. It came from brilliant design choices that went against traditional military thinking. Every part of the Mosquito was built for one main purpose: maximum speed with minimum weight. This philosophy shaped the aircraft and turned it into one of the most effective machines of World War II. The most unusual feature was its wooden structure. The Mosquito was built mainly from spruce, birch plywood, and balsa wood. Two wooden shells were molded and then glued together, creating a strong but lightweight body. This method produced a smooth surface with very little drag, allowing the aircraft to cut cleanly through the air. Despite common belief, the wooden structure was extremely strong and could absorb damage better than some metal aircraft. It also had another advantage: it did not show clearly on German radar. Radar technology in the early 1940s relied on detecting metal objects. The Mosquito's wooden airframe made it harder to detect, especially at high speed and altitude. This helped the aircraft slip through German defenses almost unnoticed. The wings were another masterpiece of engineering. They were wide, thin, and carefully shaped for speed and stability. The wings allowed the Mosquito to fly at high altitude for reconnaissance missions or low altitude for precision strikes. This flexibility made it suitable for many different roles without major design changes. At the heart of the Mosquito were its two Rolls-Royce Merlin engines. These were among the best aircraft engines of the war. Powerful, reliable, and efficient, they gave the Mosquito exceptional speed. Some versions could reach speeds of over 400 miles per hour, making them faster than many enemy fighters. This was unheard of for a bomber aircraft at the time. The cockpit design was simple and practical. With only two crew members, a pilot and a navigator, communication was clear and fast. The navigator handled navigation, bombing, and radio work, allowing the pilot to focus completely on flying. This teamwork was essential during low-level attacks and night missions, where mistakes could be fatal. Instead of defensive guns, the Mosquito relied on speed as its shield. This decision saved weight and reduced drag. While some later versions added forward-firing cannons and machine guns, the basic idea remained the same: attack first, escape faster. This approach proved far more effective than heavy gun turrets that slowed down other bombers. The aircraft's internal bomb bay was another smart feature. By carrying bombs inside the fuselage rather than under the wings, the Mosquito reduced air resistance. Over time, it was modified to carry heavier bombs, including a 4,000-pound cookie bomb. This allowed a small aircraft to deliver damage normally expected from much larger bombers. Maintenance was also easier than many metal aircraft. Wooden parts could be repaired quickly, even in basic workshops. This kept Mosquito squadrons operational and ready. The aircraft also performed well in cold and wet conditions, proving its durability in real combat environments. German engineers studied captured Mosquito wreckage and were impressed. However, copy was not easy. Germany lacked the same woodworking skills and adhesive technology used by British factories. They also struggled to match the performance of the Merlin engines. Several German attempts to build similar aircraft failed, or came too late to make a difference. The Mosquito showed the world that innovation beats tradition. By ignoring outdated ideas about armor and heavy guns, its designers created an aircraft that redefined air warfare. It proved that intelligence, design, and bold thinking could overcome superior numbers and defenses. For the German Luftwaffe, the Havilland Mosquito became one of the most frustrating and dangerous enemies of the war. Unlike slow, heavily armed bombers that could be tracked, intercepted, and destroyed, the Mosquito broke every rule the Germans relied on. It was fast, elusive, and unpredictable. Many German pilots later described encounters with the Mosquito as hopeless chases they could not win. German radar operators were often first to face the problem. Radar screens would show weak or unclear signals, sometimes disappearing completely. By the time a contact was confirmed, the Mosquito was already deep inside German airspace. Scramble orders were issued, but the response time was slow. Even the fastest German fighters needed time to climb to altitude, and the Mosquito rarely waited. When German fighters did manage to intercept, they faced another problem: speed difference. At high altitude, the Mosquito could cruise faster than many versions of the Messerschmitt Bf 109. At lower altitude, its smooth wooden body and powerful engines allowed it to accelerate quickly and escape. German pilots often reported diving after Mosquitoes at full power, only to watch them pull away. The Luftwaffe tried to adapt. They deployed faster versions of the Focke-Wulf FW-190 and modified aircraft, specifically to intercept Mosquitoes. Some fighters were stripped of armor and weapons to gain speed. Others were assigned to patrol likely Mosquito routes. But these measures had limited success. The Mosquito rarely followed predictable paths and often changed altitude to confuse defenders. Anti-aircraft guns were another line of defense, but they were not very effective. The Mosquito flew either too high, too low, or too fast. At low altitude, gunners had only seconds to react. At high altitude, the aircraft's speed made accurate targeting extremely difficult. Many Mosquito crews reported hearing flak burst behind them as they escaped safely. Night operations made the situation even worse for the Germans. The Mosquito became one of the most effective night intruder aircraft of the war. It hunted German bombers as they returned to their bases, catching them low on fuel and damaged. These surprise attacks caused confusion and fear. German crews began to dread the final minutes of their missions, knowing a Mosquito could be waiting in the darkness. The Mosquito also disrupted German command and morale. Precision raids on key buildings, radio stations, and headquarters showed that Allied intelligence was strong and defenses were weak. Even high-ranking Nazi officials were forced to admit that the Mosquito could not be reliably stopped. This had a psychological impact far beyond the physical damage caused. Hermann Göring himself reportedly expressed frustration, saying that while Germany struggled with shortages, Britain was building fast aircraft from wood and using them with devastating effect. Whether exact words are debated, the message is clear. The Mosquito embarrassed the Luftwaffe at the highest levels. As the war progressed, Germany invested more resources into air defense, partly because of the Mosquito threat. Fighters were pulled from the front lines to defend cities and factories. Radar networks were expanded. Anti-aircraft guns were increased. All of this cost time, manpower, and fuel, resources Germany could not afford to waste. Despite these efforts, the Mosquito continued to operate with remarkably low losses. Its crews gained confidence, pushing deeper into enemy territory and attempting more daring missions. The aircraft's reputation grew with every successful sortie. The Luftwaffe never truly found an answer to Mosquito. It remained a threat from early war until the final days of conflict. By proving that speed and precision could defeat heavy defenses, the Mosquito forced a rethink of air combat strategy. Behind every legendary aircraft are the people who flew it, and the de Havilland Mosquito was no exception. While the aircraft itself was fast and advanced, its true strength came from the skill, courage, and calm thinking of its two-man crews. These pilots and navigators operated in extreme conditions, often deep inside enemy territory, with no defensive gunners to protect them. Their survival depended on teamwork and trust. Mosquito pilots were carefully selected. Flying the Mosquito required precision, fast reactions, and confidence. Low-level attacks meant flying at treetop height, sometimes through valleys, cities, and narrow gaps between buildings. One mistake could mean disaster. Pilots had to control the aircraft smoothly at very high speeds while avoiding obstacles, enemy fire, and sudden weather changes. The navigator played an equally critical role. Sitting beside the pilot, the navigator handled maps, timing, bomb aiming, and radio communication. In an age before GPS, navigation depended on careful planning and dead reckoning. At night or in bad weather, this job became even more difficult. A small navigation error could send the aircraft directly into enemy defenses or cause it to run out of fuel. Training for Mosquito crews was intense. Crews practiced high-speed flying, night operations, and low-level bombing. They trained to fly without radio contact to avoid detection, relying only on timing and visual landmarks. This demanded discipline and strong nerves. Many pilots later said that Mosquito flying was among the most challenging experiences of their careers. Despite the danger, many crews loved flying Mosquito. They trusted its speed and handling. Compared to heavy bombers, which flew slowly in large formations and suffered heavy losses, the Mosquito offers a sense of control and survival. Crews often joked that if they were spotted, it usually meant they were already on the way home. The missions themselves were mentally exhausting. A typical sortie can involve flying hundreds of miles at low altitude, attacking a heavily defended target, and returning at full speed while avoiding fighters. There was no room for fear or hesitation. Everything depended on timing and coordination between pilot and navigator. Some Mosquito crews became famous for their daring missions. They flew repeated attacks against heavily defended targets, often returning with aircraft damaged by flak or fighters. The wooden structure sometimes absorbed damage that might have destroyed a metal aircraft, allowing crews to survive and land safely. Night fighter crews faced a different kind of stress. They flew in darkness, guided by onboard radar, searching for enemy bombers. When a contact appeared, they had seconds to react. Attacks were sudden and deadly. These crews had to trust their instruments and their instincts completely. The psychological pressure was constant. Even though loss rates were lower than other bomber units, The risk was always present. Crews knew that if they were hit badly, there were no gunners to defend them. Their only protection was speed and surprise. Yet, morale among Mosquito squadrons remained high. Crews believed in their aircraft and in their mission. They knew they were doing something different, something important. The Mosquito allowed small crews to make a big impact, and that sense of purpose mattered. As the war continued, Mosquito crews flew thousands of missions. Many survived the war thanks to their aircraft design and their own skill. Their experiences helped shape post-war thinking about air combat, proving that technology and training could reduce losses without reducing effectiveness. By the middle of World War II, the de Havilland Mosquito was no longer just another aircraft in the Allied arsenal. It had become a strategic weapon that influenced how the Allies planned and executed air operations. Its speed, accuracy, and versatility allowed commanders to think differently about air power, and this change had a lasting impact on the war. One of the Mosquito's biggest strategic contributions was its role in precision warfare. Before the Mosquito, bombing often meant large formations and wide area destruction. While effective in some ways, this approach caused heavy losses and civilian casualties. The Mosquito showed that small numbers of aircraft, using accurate intelligence and precise timing, could achieve critical results with far fewer resources. Allied planners used Mosquito reconnaissance flights to gather vital intelligence. These aircraft photographed enemy factories, ports, railways, and missile sites with unmatched clarity. Because Mosquitoes could fly higher and faster than enemy fighters, they brought back images that other aircraft could not. These photographs were used to plan bombing raids, adjust strategies, and measure damage after attacks. The Mosquito was also essential in disrupting German infrastructure. Repeated strikes on rail lines, bridges, and supply centers slowed the movement of troops and equipment. These attacks did not always destroy targets completely, but they forced Germany to spend time and resources on repairs. This constant disruption weakened Germany's ability to respond quickly to Allied advances. Another major contribution was in deception and diversion. Mosquito raids were often used to confuse German air defenses. A small Mosquito attack could trigger alarms and pull fighters away from other areas, allowing larger bomber formations to pass through with less resistance. In this way, the Mosquito acted as both a weapon and a distraction. As the Allies prepared for the D-Day invasion, the Mosquito played a crucial role. Reconnaissance flights helped map beaches, defenses, and troop positions. Precision strikes damaged radar stations and communication centers along the French coast, reducing Germany's ability to detect and respond to the invasion. These actions directly supported the success of the landings. The Mosquito also contributed to morale warfare. Its ability to strike symbolic targets, such as government buildings and headquarters, sent a powerful message. These attacks showed that Allied air power could reach the heart of German-controlled Europe at will. This had a psychological effect on both German leadership and occupied populations. From a cost perspective, the Mosquito was extremely efficient. It required fewer crew members, fewer resources, and less maintenance than heavy bombers. Yet it delivered results that often matched or exceeded larger aircraft. This efficiency made it highly valuable during a time when manpower and materials were under constant pressure. The success of Mosquito influenced future aircraft design. Allied engineers saw that speed, flexibility, and intelligence could be more valuable than heavy armor and large gun crews. These lessons carried into the post-war era and helped shape modern Air Force thinking. By late 1944 and 1945, the Mosquito was deeply integrated into Allied air operations. It was trusted, respected, and relied upon. Commanders knew that when a mission required accuracy, speed, and surprise, the Mosquito was the right choice. As World War II entered its final phase, the de Havilland Mosquito continued to prove why it was one of the most effective aircraft ever built. While many earlier designs were becoming outdated, the Mosquito remained relevant, dangerous, and trusted. Even in the last months of the war, it was still flying high-risk missions that shaped the final outcome in Europe. By 1944 and 1945, German air defenses were under extreme pressure. Fuel shortages, trained pilot losses, and damaged infrastructure had weakened the Luftwaffe. Yet the Mosquito did not slow down. In fact, it increased its activity. Mosquito squadrons carried out deep penetration raids into Germany, targeting factories, communication centers, and transportation hubs that supported the remaining German war effort. One important role during this period was attacking German jet aircraft facilities. As Germany attempted to introduce advanced jets like the Me-262, Mosquito reconnaissance and bombing missions helped identify and disrupt production sites and airfields. These strikes limited Germany's ability to deploy new technology effectively and maintain air superiority. The Mosquito also continued its work as a night intruder. It hunted enemy aircraft near their bases, attacking as they took off or landed. These missions were especially stressful for German crews, who faced danger even when returning home. The constant threat reduced German night bombing effectiveness and increased fatigue among enemy pilots. In the final months, Mosquito reconnaissance flights provided intelligence on troop movements and defensive positions. These missions supported Allied ground advances into Germany. The speed and altitude of the Mosquito allowed it to operate even when enemy defenses were still active, delivering information that helped save Allied lives on ground. Despite the intensity of late war combat, Mosquito loss rates remained low compared to other aircraft. This was a clear sign that its original design philosophy, speed over armor, had been correct. Many crews completed multiple tours of duty, something rare in heavy bomber units. When the war in Europe ended in May 1945, the Mosquito's record was remarkable. It had flown tens of thousands of missions across all roles. It had served in every major air campaign. It had survived from early war to final victory without losing its effectiveness. After the war, the Mosquito did not disappear immediately. Several air forces continued to use it for training, reconnaissance, and testing. Its design influenced post-war aircraft, especially in the areas of speed, multi-role capability, and crew efficiency. Historians and aviation experts often rank the Mosquito among the greatest aircraft of World War II, not because it was the largest or the most heavily armed, but because it was smartly designed and perfectly used. It proved that innovation could defeat brute force. For the men who flew it, the Mosquito was more than a machine. It was a partner they trusted with their lives. Many veterans later said that the Mosquito brought them home when nothing else could have. From the moment it entered combat, the de Havilland Mosquito changed the rules of air warfare. While the Luftwaffe prepared to fight slow, heavily armed bombers, Britain sent something completely different into the sky. The Mosquito did not look dangerous. It did not sound powerful, but it was one of the most effective and misunderstood weapons of World War II. The Luftwaffe was fooled because it thought in traditional terms. German planners believed that bombers needed armor and defensive guns to survive. They invested heavily in fighters and anti-aircraft, weapons designed to destroy large metal aircraft. The Mosquito ignored all of this. It relied on speed, surprise, and intelligence. By the time German defenses reacted, the mission was already complete. The wooden construction played a major role in this deception. Radar systems struggled to detect it clearly. Interceptors struggled to catch it. Anti-aircraft guns struggled to hit it. The Mosquito slipped through gaps in the defense system that no one had planned for. This made it appear almost invisible at times. What truly made the Mosquito special was its versatility. It was never limited to one job. It bombed targets, hunted enemy aircraft, photographed secret sites, guided larger raids, and disrupted supply lines. Few aircraft in history have performed so many roles so effectively. This flexibility kept it valuable throughout the war. The numbers speak for themselves. Thousands of Mosquito missions were completed with remarkably low losses. Targets once thought impossible to reach were attacked successfully. German resources were stretched thin as they tried and failed to stop it. Every Mosquito sortie forced Germany to react, wasting time, fuel, and manpower beyond the physical damage. The Mosquito delivered a powerful psychological blow. It showed occupied Europe that the Allies could strike with precision and control. It showed German leadership that their defenses were not perfect. And it showed the future warfare that smart design could overcome superior numbers. The Mosquito's legacy did not end in 1945. Its influence can still be seen in modern military thinking, where speed, accuracy, and information are more important than heavy armor. It stands as a reminder that innovation often comes from challenging old ideas, not following them. The de Havilland Mosquito was more than a bomber. It was a symbol of bold thinking, a machine that turned weakness into strength, built from wood, powered by intelligence, and flown by courage. It earned its place in history as the aircraft that truly fooled the Luftwaffe. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and subscribe to the channel so our future videos can reach you.